guide it, because it is guiding the pollen tube. Understand why it's called as the tube nucleus? Because it is guiding the entire structure. Once it reaches the ovule, it will degenerate. वैसे ही वेजिटेटिव था वो तो वेजिटेटिव या फिर ट्यूब न्यूक्लियस का फंक्शन क्या था? पोलन ट्यूब को गाइड करना इनसाइड द स्टाइल. We are talking about the growth of pollen tube inside now, right? Second, this movement of the pollen tube inside the style is by means of a chemical stimulus. It's a chemotropic kind of a movement. It is with the help of chemicals like calcium and boron, right? It's a calcium boron pathway which helps the growth of the pollen tube. Now see, understand why soil analysis is so important in agriculture. Because if your soil is deficient in calcium and boron nutrients, then सब कुछ होगा लेकिन pollen tube का growth नहीं होगा, right? So soil analysis is done prior so that you understand which nutrients are lacking in the soil, so an appropriate fertilizer can be used for successful agriculture. ठीक है? तो ये कैल्शियम बोरॉन की मदद से ग्रोथ हो रहा है, right? So two factors, right now? Number one, it is guided by the vegetative nucleus. Second, aided by calcium boron, right, pathway. Okay. The contents of the pollen grain move into the pollen tube, and the pollen tube grows through the tissues of the stigma and style and reaches the ovary. You would recall that in some plants, pollen grains are shed at two-celled condition. What is the percentage of plants? 60, right? In such plants, मतलब हम लोग 60 वाले की बात कर रहे हैं, the generative cell divides. राइट, ये पूरा डिस्क्रिप्शन कब आया है? पोलन ट्यूब के बनने के बाद, यानी कि सेकेंड माइटोसिस कब हो रहा है? जैसे ही जनरेटिव एंटर होगा उसके बाद. द सेकेंड माइटोसिस इज हैपनिंग इनसाइड द पोलन ट्यूब नाउ. द जनरेटिव सेल डिवाइड्स एंड फॉर्म्स द टू मेल गैमेट्स ड्यूरिंग द ग्रोथ ऑफ पोलन ट्यूब इन द स्टिग्मा. ड्यूरिंग द ग्रोथ ऑफ पोलन ट्यूब. आर यू क्लियर प्लीज? So pollen tube formation और second mitosis साथ में होगा. In plants which shed pollen in the 3-cell condition, what is the percentage for this? 40. The pollen tubes carry the two male gametes from the beginning. क्योंकि second mitosis पहले हो चुका है ना इसमें, ठीक है? क्या वर्ड सर्कल किया मैंने? Carry. The pollen tubes carry the two male gametes. You have to carry a structure which cannot travel on its own. So the male gametes are non-motile. The male gametes are non-motile. Right? So a non-motile male gamete in case of plants marks the highest level of evolution, because if you start from algae, all flagellated structures. Remember, bryophyta याद है कि नहीं? Biflagellated antherozoids using water as a medium to reach the female. याद है डिस्कशन अपना? So motility, maturity पे आ गया, motility खत्म. See, अगर male gamete mature होता तो pollen tube का जरूरत ही नहीं था. Directly the male gamete would have traveled in the style and reached there by the help of flagella or cilia. Right? So, pollen tubes carry the two male gametes from the beginning. Okay. Are we clear, please? All the steps are being understood properly, please. Yes, Ishita. हाँ, because my second mitosis already हो चुका है. वहाँ पे हो चुका है. Yes. Okay. That's why उन्होंने दो describe किया. जी.
I didn't get the why this is the highest type of evolution.
Angiosperms.
Yeah, but these are not moving. वो move कर रहे थे.
हाँ. तो आप देखो ना, आप एक मोटा मोटाइल मेल गैमेट से नॉन मोटाइल स्ट्रक्चर में जा रहे हो.
अच्छा, okay.
You are going from algate to angiosperms. In plants this is marking, क्योंकि अब मोटिलिटी खत्म हो गई ना.
हाँ, motility got finished.
ओके.
In 40% plants the germination and second one is occur simultaneously और second one is occur.
नहीं नहीं, सेकंड मेटासिस तो आपका एंथर में हो गया था. 40% की बात कर रहे हो ना.
हाँ.
हाँ, तो वो तो पॉलिनेशन ही 3 सेल स्टेज में होता है. तो 60% में एंथर में एक पॉलिनेशन होगा, स्टिग्मा पे दूसरा माइटोसिस होगा. लेकिन 40% में दोनों माइटोसिस एंथर में ही होगा. ठीक है. सो दिस इज द फर्स्ट स्टेज ऑफ डेवलपमेंट. दिस इज द फर्स्ट इवेंट्स occurring now, right? Just to put everything together, pollen grain landed on stigma, compatibility, who will check for compatibility? Pistil will check for compatibility. ठीक है. केमिकल इंटरैक्शन हुआ, कंपैटिबल है. पोलन ग्रेन विल स्टार्ट जर्मिनेटिंग, फॉर्म द पोलन ट्यूब. कंटेंट्स ऑफ पोलन ट्यूब आर माइग्रेटिंग इनसाइड. हु इज द फर्स्ट वन टू मूव इनसाइड? वेजिटेटिव फॉलोड बाय जनरेटिव. एंड जैसे ही एंटर हुआ, ट्यूब बना, जनरेटिव विल अंडरगो सेकंड माइटोसिस टू फॉर्म 2 मेल गैमेट्स. एवरीबॉडी ऑन पार प्लीज, एवरीबॉडी. ओके, ठीक है. नाउ वी टेक दिस अ लिटिल आगे. Now pollen tube reaching the ovary. The pollen tube will reach the ovary. Let's see the pollen tube reaching the ovary. Now I'll make a diagram here only. Ovule, the mass of cells called nucellus. Nucellus protected by coverings called as integuments. Integuments leaving a small opening at the tip called micropyle. What is located near the micropyle? The embryo sac ka location is near the embryo sac formation. The megaspore mother cell was near the micropylar end, so embryo sac formation is also at the micropylar end. So let's make the embryo sac here. Okay. The embryo sac is 7 cell, 8 nucleated. At the micropylar end of the embryo sac, do we have egg apparatus?
Yeah.
The egg apparatus is consisting of a egg cell and synergids. Right? Center mein we have 2 polar nuclei, central cell. And at the chalazal end we've got 3 antipodals. Excellent. We've got pollen tube now reaching the micropyle. Right? Now 2 terms I would like to give you here. One, for the process of fertilization, have we used a formation of a pollen tube here? Pollen tube अगर नहीं बनेगा तो मेल गैमेट नीचे नहीं आएगा. यानी इस प्रोसेस के लिए एक pollen tube जरूरी है. The use of a pollen tube in fertilization, we've learned this in plant kingdom also. It's called as siphonogamy. Siphon means a tube, right? So when pollen tube is used, the process is siphonogamy. Second term, is the pollen tube entering through the micropyle? If it is entering through the micropyle, it is called as porogamy. It is called as porogamy. Pore is a small opening. Now the male gametes, देखो यहाँ पे आके, yes, the process by which the pollen tube enters through the micropyle is entering, ना? हाँ, that is called porogamy. अब can you see the vegetative or the tube nucleus is degenerated? I tell you, once it reaches its destination, उसका काम खत्म. Okay, now the 2 male gametes का target is the embryo sac, and it will have to pierce this using one synergid. What is present at the micropylar end of synergid? Filiform apparatus. एंड क्या फंक्शन पढ़ा था? इट इज गाइडिंग द पोलन ट्यूब. नाउ सिनर्जिड में से फिलिफॉर्म अपैरेटस इज एट द मोस्ट माइक्रोपाइलर एंड एकदम ऊपर. Now it will provide certain amount of moisture to the tip of pollen tube. It will help the tip of pollen tube to burst open. But in the process, that synergid will have to degenerate. यानी दोनों में से एक synergid को शहीद होना पड़ेगा, जान जानी पड़ेगी उसकी, राइट ना? So out of the two, one of the synergids will get degenerated. And that, so पहले क्या होगा? The male gametes will be released inside the synergid. And synergid degenerate हुआ तो it will release in the embryo sac now. So how do the male gametes reach the embryo sac? Via a synergid. That is where the role of filiform apparatus comes into play. Okay. As pointed earlier, ये देखो, pollen tube after reaching the ovary enters the ovule through the micropyle, enters one of the synergids through the filiform apparatus. One of the synergids. Many recent studies have shown that the filiform apparatus present at the micropylar part of the synergid. This is the second time that they are mentioning this. What is the position of filiform apparatus? पहले भी उन्होंने mention किया था, वापस mention कर रहे हैं वो लोग. What is the position of filiform apparatus? The micropylar part of synergid. Guides the entry of pollen tube. All these events put together is called as pollen-pistil interaction. Now, as pointed out earlier, pollen-pistil interaction is a dynamic process involving, number one, pollen recognition. ये सबसे पहले. Followed by promotion or inhibition of the pollen. Depending on the recognition, recognize हुआ तो promotion, नहीं हुआ तो inhibition. The knowledge gained in this area, कौन सा knowledge? ये chemical dialogue वाला, right? Would help in plant breeder in manipulating the pollen-pistil interaction, something what we spoke about just a while back. Even in incompatible pollinations, to get desired hybrids, right? So if we have to get desired hybrids, obviously the pollen grains and the pistil will be incompatible. So usme manipulation is the help of this chemical interaction. Now, in the previous syllabus, right now, one of the deleted chapters, the 6 chapters have been deleted, one of them was talking about plant breeding. तो उसमें ये पूरा प्रोसेस मेंशन था कि हाउ वाज प्लांट ब्रीडिंग, राइट? इसलिए चैप्टर नंबर 9 का रेफरेंस दिया हुआ है इन द प्रीवियस सिलेबस. दैट वाज चैप्टर नंबर 9, नॉट करंट सिलेबस का चैप्टर नंबर 9. प्लीज यू विल ट्राई टू सर्च वेयर इज प्लांट ब्रीडिंग इन चैप्टर नंबर 9. चैप्टर नंबर 9 में नहीं मिलेगा आपको. ओके, नाउ हियर दे आर टॉकिंग अबाउट प्रोड्यूसिंग कमर्शियली सुपीरियर वेराइटीज. Ishita, what is a variety? Below species. So when I say there are so many rice ka varieties, right? Basmati is there, and uska some other type. But hai wo rice set hai bhai. But variety is different types. Okay. So superior varieties with better desirable qualities. उसके लिए we are using a process of artificial hybridization, right? Artificial hybridization is where you select 2 parent plants, you identify which of them has got superior qualities, superior characteristics, and you bring them together in union. तो लेकिन अगर ये non compatible है, right? So man is acting as a pollinator now, right? Now मेल पेरेंट से पोलिन ग्रेन लिया, फीमेल पेरेंट पे स्टिग्मा पे डिपॉजिट किया, ये एक्चुअल हो गया तुम्हारा आर्टिफिशियल हाइब्रिडाइजेशन. एंड यहाँ पर पूरा मैनुअल इंटरवेंशन है पूरा. देयर इज नो नेचर इन्वॉल्व्ड हियर. ओके, सी वन ऑफ द प्रॉब्लम्स दैट आवर कंट्री इज फेसिंग, इफ यू कैन सी यहाँ पे आर्टिफिशियल हाइब्रिडाइजेशन वन ऑफ द मेजर अप्रोच ऑफ क्रॉप इंप्रूवमेंट प्रोग्राम. क्रॉप डेवलपमेंट नहीं, क्रॉप improvement program. So already developed ones have to be improved now. As I was saying, the challenge before our country, right, the major challenge is population. Because the expanse of our population is so huge. Okay? Population always increases in geometric progression, as against food production, which increases in arithmetic progression. Right? You are aware of GP and AP, right? No? Will not get the equations into picture right now. मुझे भी नहीं आता, तुमको भी नहीं आता. So no sense in, right, insulting each other. Next, jokes apart. So obviously it is population which will always be more faster in growth than the food production. Right? So food production हमेशा पीछे ही रहने वाला है. So उसको वो गैप को fill in करने के लिए ये सारे programs हैं. Right? Government institutes like IARI, Indian Agricultural Research Institute. Right? These are all government institutes. They are the ones who create these superior varieties. Okay? So how they've just given a small note on artificial hybridization. Right? I'll tell you why this note is important and what mistakes students make here. Now, for a hybrid, identifying two parent varieties is important. Those ones which have characteristic, let's say A has a characteristic, B has a characteristic, you want to combine them into one to make a superior one. So you identify A, you identify B. Now the plant of A, the plant of B, okay. Let's say you identify, or I have to take pollen from A and deposit it on the stigma of B. So does this become the male parent and does this become the female parent? इसका pollen use करे, उसका stigma use करे. लेकिन possibility है कि दोनों भी flowers bisexual हो सकते हैं. तो यहाँ पर भी stigma है और यहाँ पर आपके पास pollen है. बराबर? यहाँ पे गड़बड़ होती है. यहाँ पे गड़बड़ होती है. जब हम किसी को मेल पेरेंट बोलते हैं ना, तो अपने दिमाग में हाँ ये स्टैमिनेट होगा शायद. फीमेल पेरेंट ना, हाँ ये पिस्टलेट होगा. नहीं, फ्लावर बाइसेक्सुअल हो सकता है, लेकिन उसके अगर मैंने पोलन ग्रेन्स लिए तो वो मेल पेरेंट हो गया. ठीक है ना? तो यहां पर दोनों ऑप्शंस पॉसिबल है. ठीक है? सो मेल पेरेंट मतलब स्टैमिनेट से इक्वेट मत करना उसको, वो बाइसेक्सुअल हो सकता है. फीमेल पेरेंट मतलब पिस्टलेट इक्वेट मत करना उसको, वो बाइसेक्सुअल हो सकता है. अब फीमेल, सी नाउ पोलन ग्रेन्स डिपॉजिट करके वेयर यू गोइंग टू पुट on the stigma. So all the post pollination fertilization is going to happen on which parent? Female parent, right? Now on the female parent we have to ensure that अपना stigma protected है, contaminate नहीं होना चाहिए. So you have to save it from pollen of the same plant and pollen of different also. So the first step is you remove the stamen of the same plant. यहाँ का stamen निकाल दिया. So removal of the stamen is called emasculation. So emasculation is happening on which parent? Female. हाँ, this is important. Emasculation. देखो, our mind works in a very tricky way. Emasculation ना, हाँ, stamen निकालना है ना, हाँ, तो male parent. Nine. Female. Now removal of the stamen protects the stigma from its own pollen now. But this stigma is still vulnerable to outside pollen. So you cover it with a small bag. So that is called as bagging. So what has the two steps done? Emasculation has protected from khud ka pollen and bagging has protected from outside pollen. Now you wait for maturity दोनों का. So when this anther undergoes dehiscence, you take pollen from the male parent, you remove the back, you deposit the pollen and you put the bag again now. उसको बोलते हैं रीबैगिंग. सो बोलने का मतलब ये है कि इमैस्कुलेशन, बैगिंग, रीबैगिंग, ये सब कौन से पेरेंट पे चल रहा है आपका? फीमेल पेरेंट पे. Here is where students make a lot of mistakes. Right? See, when I tell students now, these are the mistakes that you make. On the face of it, they look very simple ideas, simple thing दिखती है एकदम. जब पेपर में वही मिस्टेक्स आते ना, फिर वो सर पीट के आते हैं कि अरे यार ये तो बहुत इजी था. एंड उसको फिर वो लोग कैटेगराइज करते सिली मिस्टेक्स. ठीक है? राइट? ये पिछले जितने सालों में स्टूडेंट्स जहां मिस्टेक्स करे, दैट इज व्हाट आई एम टेलिंग यू. You will also start thinking on the same lines. Yes, sir, please.
So you said both the flowers are bisexual.
हाँ, can be. Unisexual है तो फिर वहाँ पे emasculation निकल जाएगा.
हाँ. But sir, in the end, इधर emasculation होता है ना bisexual.
नहीं, अगर मेरा फीमेल पेरेंट बाइसेक्सुअल है तो मुझे emasculation करना पड़ेगा.
हाँ. So.
लेकिन अगर फीमेल पेरेंट यूनिसेक्सुअल है तो emasculation का स्टेप निकल जाएगा, लेकिन बाकी दोनों तो रहेंगे.
हाँ. That I understood.
फिर
But बाद में अगर emasculation के बाद it still be known as bisexual.
क्या फर्क पड़ता है? बाइसेक्सुअल था, मैंने मेल पार्ट निकाल दिया उसका, उसको यूनिसेक्सुअल बनाया मैंने.
हाँ. So it becomes unisexual.
या obviously ना. Okay, artificial hybridization is one of the major approaches of crop improvement program. In such crossing experiments, you are doing a cross right now. It is important to make sure that only the desired pollen grains are used for pollination and the stigma is protected from contamination. How do you protect the stigma from contamination? By emasculation and bagging. Emasculation protects it from खुद का pollen and bagging from outside pollen. So this is achieved by emasculation and bagging techniques. कौन से पेरेंट पे ये होगा? फीमेल पेरेंट पे. राइट? ये मिस्टेक नहीं होना चाहिए प्लीज. इफ द फीमेल पेरेंट बेयर्स बाइसेक्सुअल फ्लावर्स, तो यहाँ पे दो कंडीशन आ जाएगी. या तो फीमेल पेरेंट हैज गॉट बाइसेक्सुअल फ्लावर्स और यूनिसेक्सुअल फ्लावर्स. रिमूवल ऑफ एंथर्स फ्रॉम फ्लावर बड बिफोर द एंथर dehisces is necessary. This step is referred as emasculation. जो emasculated flower है, it has to be covered with a bag to prevent contamination of the unwanted pollen. This is called as bagging. When the stigma of the bagged flower, मतलब कौन सा parent हो गया? Female parent. Attains receptivity. Mature pollen grains from anthers of the male parent. Dusted on the stigma, flowers are rebagged and the fruits are allowed to develop. If the female parent is producing unisexual, there is no need for emasculation. There is no need for emasculation. Clear है what is artificial hybridization वाला part, please, right? And what are the areas which you need to be careful about while answering the question? Yes, beta.
So why rebagging does, because the pollen grains have already landed on the.
हाँ, but लेकिन foreign pollen अभी भी आ सकता है, receptivity अभी भी है. Okay. You want to be sure about preventing contamination. That's right. ठीक है? So यहाँ पर हाँ बोलो. So
Contamination with respect to what?
contamination of pollen.
But sir, ऐसे तो अगर normally भी अगर naturally pollination हो रहा है तो फिर contamination होता है.
होता है ना? इसलिए तो chance process है ना word. Okay. Now pollen tube has reached. बराबर? It has used the filiform apparatus of the synergid. Synergid has undergone degeneration. The pollen, the male gametes will enter the synergid first, and then the embryo sac. Right now, so gametes have now entered the embryo sac. One synergid for that has undergone degeneration. Everybody follow the steps now, please. This diagram we will come towards the end of the session, please. Thoda sa. After entering one of the synergids, so what has happened to that synergid? Degenerated. The pollen tube releases the two male gametes in the cytoplasm of the synergid, right ना? अब उसको degenerate करके बाहर आएगा. One of the male gamete moves towards the egg cell. सही है गलत है? देखिए एनसीईआरटी कितना ध्यान से पढ़ना पड़ता है. पहले क्या था? कैरी. अब क्या हो रहा है? नेवर नोस इट्स राइट और रॉन्ग. आई एम जस्ट आस्किंग राइट और रॉन्ग. वाह. बिकॉज़ इट्स एनसीईआरटी. दैट्स व्हाई. नहीं. मेक क्लैरिटी. When it enters the embryo sac, embryo sac के पास खुद का cytoplasm है, and cytoplasm is in a state of movement called as cytoplasmic streaming. Cyclosis. We made a mention of that yesterday. Cyclosis. So this movement is because of that. So please, ऐसा नहीं अचानक से उसका सीलिया फ्लैजुला निकल गया और ये चलने लगा. हाँ, प्लीज सी पर्पसफुली आई हैव पॉइंटेड आउट बोथ द वर्ड्स टू यू. एक जगह कैरी लिखा था, एक जगह मूव लिखा है. प्लीज हाँ, गैमेट नॉन मोटाइल ही है, राइट? आर वी गेटिंग दिस पॉइंट प्लीज? ओके. वन ऑफ द मेल गैमेट्स मूव्स टुवर्ड्स द एग सेल. सो वन मेल गैमेट haploid will move towards the egg cell, which is also haploid, right, resulting in formation of the zygote. Now this fusion is called as first fertilization, or it is also called as syngamy. This is also called as syngamy, which results in formation of a diploid cell, which is the zygote. The second male gamete, right, will move towards the polar nuclei, right? We have two polar nuclei. Where are the polar nuclei situated inside? Central cell. So we have movement of the male gamete towards the polar nuclei. So it is fusion of how many nuclei? 3. That's why the second step is called as triple fusion or second fertilization. So what are the two fertilizations called as? The first fertilization is called syngamy and the second fertilization is called as triple fusion. Again, area of concern बता रहा हूं मैं, ध्यान रखना प्लीज. अब ये न्यूक्लियस, ये दोनों न्यूक्लियस क्या फ्यूज होगा? तो इसके रिजल्ट से जो न्यूक्लियस बनेगा, ये तीनों के फ्यूजन से ऑब्वियसली ट्रिप्लॉइड होगा. बट दिस न्यूक्लियस विल बी कॉल्ड एज ट्रिप्लॉइड प्राइमरी एंडोस्पर्म न्यूक्लियस. टीपेन, ट्रिप्लॉइड प्राइमरी एंडोस्पर्म न्यूक्लियस. बट दिस पोलर न्यूक्लियस इनसाइड विच सेल? हाँ, अब ये जो सेंट्रल सेल है, it will get converted into a primary endosperm cell. This is a nuclei. This is a cell. So polar nuclei क्या बना? टीपेन. और सेंट्रल सेल का क्या बना? PEC. So you should be knowing when to use the word T-pen and when to use the word PEC. So when you are referring to the bigger structure cell, you use the word PEC. Right now? And why it is called triple fusion? Because the three nuclei are fusing. The other male gamete moves towards the two polar nuclei located in the central cell. देखो वापस clarify किया उन्होंने. Again to remind you, where are the polar nuclei situated? Inside the central cell, and fuses with them to them मतलब polar nuclei to produce a triploid primary endosperm nucleus, T-pen. The central cell, देखो last statement, central cell after triple fusion becomes the PEC. So are we clear? The 3N nucleus is T-pen and the central cell is getting converted into the PEC. Two types of fusion, syngamy triple fusion taking place in an embryo. The phenomena is termed double fertilization, an event which is unique to flowering plants. यहाँ पर flowering plants imply only angiosperms and not gymno. The argument is, sir, plants are classified as non-flowering and flowering. Flowering has both gymno as well as angio. No, यहाँ पर it is implying only to angio. Gymno does not have double fertilization, and that is why उसका endosperm is haploid. We have learned this in Plantae. Plantae में मैंने differentiation दिया था gymno और angio का. उसमें बताया था कि gymno का endosperm haploid होता है, angio का endosperm triploid होता है. क्यों? क्योंकि वहां पर डबल फर्टिलाइजेशन नहीं है, यहाँ पर डबल फर्टिलाइजेशन है. So are the two fertilizations understood, please? Right? First fertilization called as syngamy, the second fertilization also called as triple fusion. Okay, so ये अपना हो गया step number 2, fertilization. We finished pre-fertilization events. Pre-fertilization में we had development of male gametophyte, development of female gametophyte, pollination. Now we've done this fertilization. The third part of the chapter is post-fertilization. How does post-fertilization happen? Following double fertilization, now post-fertilization, we are going to have 3 events. Events of endosperm and embryo development, maturation of ovule into seed, second, and maturation of ovary into fruit. So post-fertilization, we are going to have 3 events. Endosperm embryo development, ovule to seed का development and ovary to fruit का development, right? The majority part of seed and fruit, I think we have covered in morphology वाला chapter. What we will be covering also will be a little additional, but थोड़ा सा revision type हो जाएगा, right? Today we will talk about embryo and endosperm का development. Now we have 2 structures in the ovule. Sorry, in the seed I should say now, fertilization हो गया ना, तो ovule will become seed. So within the seed, we have 2 important structures. One is the embryo, one is the endosperm. So first let us talk about endosperm. Now the development of endosperm precedes the development of embryo. मतलब एक जाइगोट था और एक पीईसी था, दो स्ट्रक्चर्स बने थे. सो हु विल स्टार्ट डिवाइडिंग फर्स्ट? पीईसी. पीईसी का डेवलपमेंट फर्स्ट होगा. जाइगोट इज वेरी स्मार्ट, इट विल अलाउ पीईसी टू स्टार्ट डिवाइडिंग एंड अच्छा खासा एंडोस्पर्म बन गया, देन इट इज अश्योर्ड, अच्छा हाँ एम्ब्रियो को न्यूट्रिशन मिलेगा अभी. इट्स अ adaptation of assured nutrition. Okay, so that is why